Hello world and happy hacking. My name is Mark Tellez and welcome to webdevcourses.tv, and I'll be your instructor. Today we're going to be doing vanilla JavaScript. And it's going to be beginning JavaScript. We're not going to be jumping into advanced concepts. This is day 3. We're going to be talking about variable scoping. We're going to be talking about tools that you can use in your JavaScript so that you don't have to add stuff to the global object and some other things. So let's talk about the schedule real quick. Just 9 a.m. we have all week, well, next week, all next week, Introduction to Modern Web Development at 10 a.m. That's this class. We're doing vanilla JavaScript for beginners. 11 a.m. JavaScript interview questions and answers. And at 12 p.m. designing UX using Tailwind CSS. We take a break. We come back 7 p.m. Databases and CRUD. We're going to do MongoDB again today. We're going to be learning more about all of the things that you used to do in SQL. How do you do those things in Mongo? And then 8 p.m. it's time for another awesome session where we're building a video game using JavaScript. So let's see. We don't need this. We need our project. It's going to be down here. Have intro to JavaScript. Where's it at? Where's JavaScript? JavaScript, where are you? Did I not create one yet? Apparently I didn't create one yet. All right, fine. Let's create one. So make directory, what is this? This is intro to vanilla JS. We're gonna cd into that folder, open that folder. Actually, let's do, what is this, day 3? Now that we're finally into some code that we can save. Open that one. Hello, where's my code? Need a space. There we go. All right, so day 3 of JavaScript. Let's just create our index.jsx. Index.js. Okay, so here's our JavaScript file. I want to talk about var, let, and const today. It's not all of the things we're going to talk about, but these are important. Stop using var. var doesn't listen to useStrict. It just does whatever it wants. useStrict is going to force our lets and our consts to not be hoisted outside of the functions that they have been contained to. It does a couple of other things. It throws errors when it used to throw warnings. It just makes your JavaScript less buggy and error prone. All right, so now that we've made our JavaScript more deterministic by switching to use strict, and we know that we're not supposed to use any vars, just const and lets, how do you know the difference? How do you know when you need a const and when you need a let? The answer should be, it should always be const, unless you can't figure out a way to write it in a fashion where it's performant enough using immutable structures. If you can't do that because you're running through many arrays or something, there's something going on that's like high processing, and you just have to use a let to like get around that and to have something that's more imperative and more performant. Then you should totally use it, but otherwise you should use const. You should also use a let in the case of a closure. What is a closure? A closure is any time that you've defined a value inside of a closure, inside of a function. Well, blocks used to be, but functions now. So we define I inside of this closure. We're going to define it with a let because we're going to change it later. And we're going to return a new function. And that new function is going to return us, you know, something like plus plus I. I guess I plus. So if we were to call this, if we were to say C equals closure, and then we were just to call C, and then C, and then C, and let's put each of these in a console log. This is a reason to use lets when you're creating a closure. So node index. Let's also nvm use 16, make sure I'm on the right version. C is not defined. Let's waste that ourselves. Because we're not using a var, we're not using, I guess we could just use a const. So we get 0, 1, 2. The reason that this works is because of this let. It's creating a variable that we can then redefine, and we're redefining the value over and over and over. That's what closures are for. All right, let's talk about something that's super important in JavaScript. JavaScript is an asynchronous language. That means that in most code, you have line 1, line 2, line 3. They execute in that order, and line 2 will not start executing until line 3 comes in. We get the error. Super hot. Okay. JavaScript doesn't work like this. Line 1 will execute. It doesn't have to block. It can just continue going on, executing line 2, executing line 3. And so you have to have a different mindset when you're programming JavaScript than when you're programming, like, say, Python or Ruby or C or Rust or anything else, because those languages are blocking languages, and JavaScript does not block. JavaScript doesn't block, by the way, because if this button, well, it's not a button, but say it's a button. If I clicked on this thing and some long running process was attached to that, I wouldn't be able to click anything else on the page. Because I wouldn't be able to click anything else on the page, it would essentially feel like the page is locked. And JavaScript doesn't lock pages because they have to always be ready to take new user input, key presses, other events. Speaking of events, how do you fire an event? Okay. We're not running in the browser here, so we don't have a window object. We have a global object because we're running inside of Node. Okay, so if we wanted to have some JavaScript code here, that uses events. We don't have DOM content loaded. This is what we get in the browser. I'm gonna go to my console here. DOM content loaded. If we take that and we said window.on or window.add event listener, add our DOM content loaded, and then give it a function. This function is guaranteed to load when the content is done loading, and not before. Now, if we refresh this, we're not going to see it because it's not in the code and it just disappears. But that's the concept, is that DOM content loaded will wait till the body loads, wait till the canvas loads, wait till whatever tags you need load, and then you can call them. We don't have that. In server side, what events can we listen to? We can do sockets. We can create our own events. We can create our own event handlers. Honestly, I think the best way to do this is going to be in a web page. So let's switch this to HTML. HTML. We're not coding in 1997 anymore. All right, index.html. We need an HTML block. We need a head block. We need a body block. We need a script tag. We're going to put use strict in our script tag. Let's put an input here. Input type of text. Let's give it an ID because I'm going to have more than one of these and we're not using React. Let's just call that input 1. Actually, let's call that name input. Okay, so we have this name input. We want to respond when people type in it. Okay, so we're typing in our input. We need to somehow know when something happened, right? We could put an on change here, like this. Or we can say window.addEventListener, wait for that DOM content loaded event, and then we can start creating our stuff. So const name input equals document.getElement by ID. And let's just give it name input. Let's do it two ways. Let's do it without the window event first. And let's see what we get. So when we run this, we get it back a null. How do we know that that's the null we're getting? Let's convert it to an undefined if it's null with an OR gate. Because I don't like nulls. And so now it's undefined, which means that we know that that is definitely the line where it's coming on. Now, why is that? Well, this script is running before our body ever gets mounted, before this input ever gets loaded. So the input is not available up here when we're trying to call it. If we take this code and we move it inside of our listener, we do the same thing. We get back our actual input control because the event has not fired until after the DOM content event comes back. All right, so now we could say, take this name input and we're going to add an on change to it. What does that on change do? Well, it's a function. And that's going to give us back the event of the thing that changed, which is going to be like e.target.value for the value. And we want to do something with that. Maybe we just do console.dir e.target.value. Okay, nothing yet. Actually, why aren't we getting something? We should. Oh, it just hadn't reloaded. So something to notice is like until we get out of the thing, we don't get the event. You see that? The event doesn't happen until after we're out of the text box. That's weird because that's not how React works, right? So input on change happens on blur. Well, this is just talking about React. We don't care about React right now. Care about JavaScript. So there's another way of doing it. Let's do add event listener, and let's pass the event that we wanted before, like this change, and let's try to move this inside. Let's see what we get now. I'm going to refresh it so we start over. Let's clear that. So you can see that until we mouse out, we just don't get our text, right? That's just kind of the way that the old HTML works. So there's this input. This is different from React. You'll notice as we type now, we're going to get back the string. So here's the moral of the story. Don't get too comfortable learning just React or Vue or Svelte or whatever, because it's clearly changing the way that HTML and JavaScript work natively. And someday you're going to have to like mount some regular vanilla JavaScript for creating an ad or something, and you're not going to have any idea how to do it because everything got a lot easier with React. Okay, so we use the input. Every time there's a new input, we get the value. What if we just wanted to print that value out on the page? In React, we would do something like this, but we don't have access to JSX. So how would you do it? Well, traditionally, we would do it like this. We'd have maybe a span tag, and that span would have an ID. And this would be like input display. The input display can be a self-closing tag because it doesn't have any content of its own yet. What's going to happen is we are going to get a reference to it like this. And now we have our input display. And now what we could do is every time we do something with this event, we could do input display dot inner HTML. We can set that back to e dot target dot value. So now when you type in, you can see that it's essentially duplicating the text. And this is how a lot of like the WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get editor kind of things work. They essentially are using a span or a div to like display the content that you're typing in. Okay, so we've learned that you can put event listeners onto, well, anything that it will accept an event. So not everything accepts events. Like the span would accept an on-click, but it wouldn't accept an input because it's not an input. Okay, well, what if we wanted to do that? What if we wanted to watch this for a click, and when it clicks, maybe it clears or something, right? Same thing. We're going to get our input display. We're going to add an event listener on it. The event listener this time is going to be click. When that happens, we're going to do something like input name input dot value equals an empty string. So you can fill it out like this, and then when you click on it, it goes away. Now the weird thing is we clicked on this and it went away here, but it didn't go away here. And that's because the two pieces are separate. It's not like React where you have a piece of state. You change it one place and the state updates everywhere. It doesn't work like that in regular HTML. So how can we make it so that essentially the same thing happens? Well, I guess you could do this. Or if you were like a super hacky developer, you could totally do something like this. And then you get the result that you expect, but I wouldn't do that. Because really what you're doing is you're setting this to the reference of this, which is set to that. Semantically, I don't think that's correct. We're calling this here. We're calling this here. It's basically the same thing. We just get a different value. This one listens to the click for clear. How about we just have a button? Let's call it a clear button. What's up? How's my Twitch people doing? We got hey, we got J Grill back. What's up, J Grill? Vita Prod, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? We got some people over on YouTube, but nobody is saying hello yet, so I won't say hello back. Thank you, Twitch, for saying hello. YouTube, get on your game. Stop being shown up by the Twitch guys. Twitch is a much better experience. I'm going to try to emulate Twitch a lot more than I'm going to try to emulate YouTube when I build the like the stream place that you can watch at my domain instead of watching on Twitch, or instead of like I want drops, I want overlays, I want the stuff they got in Twitch. YouTube ain't got shit on Twitch when it comes to streaming. Yo, Jeremiah over here on YouTube saying hello. What are we making today? Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I didn't update the thing. My apologies. I did not update the Twitter title. Or Twitter. Sorry, Twitch. I don't mean to call you Twitter. I promise Twitch is not Twitter. Twitch is a lot better than Twitter. I'm sorry, it's been updated. This is vanilla JavaScript. We're not making anything in the sense that we're trying to like build. We're not trying to build something that I'm going to ship to a client or something. I'm just showing you guys how vanilla JavaScript works, because I think there's a lot of people that jump straight into React or straight into Svelte or straight into Vue, and they just don't understand how JavaScript works, and then that makes things very hard. All right, so we have a button. I'm just going to throw an ID on this, right? We're just going to call this clear button. Now I can do the same thing. I can get a reference to my button. Now I have a reference to my button. And now we can add an event listener to it. So the button, when it goes click, we're going to clear. Okay. This is a problem. There we go. So now you can see that like when we type in here, it repeats it here, and we click here, it goes away. So we've added a name input. We're mirroring the content that's typed into the name input into the inner HTML of our span tag here. Then we're creating a click event for our clear button, so when we click on it, it goes away. Let's put some divs around this. I guess I could just do class, I'm not using Tailwind, style. And for the style of this thing, let's just say that it's a type of block. Ah, I'm not using Tailwind. What am I doing? Not type, display. Probably should put my semicolon on there too. You get spoiled by Tailwind. Okay, so this is we're repeating what we type here. So, you know, you type Mark Tellez, right? My name. Click clear, it goes away. So that is event handlers. Let's rename this to event handlers. Create a new index.jsx, or no, index.html. I'm going to copy, actually we don't have to copy anything. HTML, head, body, JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript. Something else that you have to, are you showing a submit function? No, I didn't do a submit. Submit needs a form. I don't want to create a form. I just have a button. Hey, Alexander, how you doing? Hey, Rogelio. Hey, Brian. YouTube is waking up. Hey, Northern Chimp. We've got Vita Prod and J Grill over on Twitch, and we've got Northern Chimp, Alexander, Rogelio, Brian, which Brian needs a wrench. Brian, here's a wrench for you. Brian got a wrench. Rogelio can have a wrench too. I have seen Rogelio here a few times. You know what? Alexander gets a wrench too. If you're wondering on Twitch who's getting wrenches and what wrenches are, I'm just adding people to my moderator over on YouTube. They don't make that super easy over here on Twitch, do they? Let's see. I can follow you though. I'll follow via prod. I'll follow jgrill. There we go. Okay, so back to a brand new HTML document. Why a brand new HTML document? What if we wanted to bind like the whole body so that there's no input field? You just click the screen and you should be able to type, and we should be able to like intercept those characters and do something with them, right? Let's just do the body tag. So if I was to do const body tag, let's just call it body. And we're going to do I got to put that in a script tag. We're going to put that inside of a document. I guess I could just do document document body. I'm going to do the query selector anyway. All right. So again, if we run this, it's not going to work. It's not going to be happy. Why is it not going to be happy? Why do we get a null here? We get a null because this is loading before the body tag, and therefore we don't know. Same fix as before. Window dot add event listener DOM content loaded. Now we get back our body tag, and that's because the body tag has mounted before our loader has happened. Okay. So we have our body. Let's trap the key down. So body dot add event listener key down. Now you can do key down, you can do key press, you can do key up. Note the key press doesn't work for like the number pad if you've got one of those big old keyboards that have a number pad on the side. Key press won't work for that, but key down does. Key down is going to give us an event, and in that event is the key. So I'm just going to destructure the event directly into the key. And for now, let's just console log out the key that we typed. Now we got D, L, O. Like we can keep track of this, right? Like we can type, we can print it out on the screen maybe, right? How would we do that? Well, what if we created a let up here at the top, and that was text, and the text just started off as an empty string? What if every time we press the key, we just sent that key to the text if it's alphanumeric? If it's not alphanumeric, we wouldn't want to send it, so we don't want to trap, well, we don't want to trap some keys. If JavaScript key down keys alphanumeric, there's key codes behind these, and I'm not sure if they're no, they're not consistent. They go from 48 to 57 and then from 65 to 90, and that'll only be lowercase. Yeah, don't do code like this. That's regular expression is ugly. Let's go here. If the event code, I would do this the other way around. I would say if the event code is less than 102 or greater than 123, I would just return. There's no work to be done. Otherwise, we can put it into the text, right? So text is going to equal text plus whatever that key was that we pressed. Now this has the key code. So I would need the key code. Actually, let me go back to the event. Let's console log out this event so that we can see what it looks like. It's a synthetic event. Here's our key down. We press a button or a character. We got another E key down. This time it says key of D. So the code is like key D, right? But the key is just the character, and here's the key code. So what I would do is if we just need the key code and we just need what, the key, we can do this. E is not defined. Oh yeah, because I got rid of the E. This is going to become key code. Let's refresh it one more time, and then let's type H. Nothing. If the key code is less than 12 or greater than that, let's take that off for a minute, and let's do console.dir key code just so we can see what it actually is. A is 65. A is 65. Well, 65 would definitely be less than that. Did I grab the wrong one? I think I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed the wrong one. Yeah, it's less than 48. We don't want. And greater than what, 56 or something? 57. We don't want. Or if actually, and well, let's do them one at a time. So 68, 70, 71, 74. All right, so how can we get this text onto the page? Well, we can set this text key thing, right? We could also do document. We already have the body, right? Let's just do body.inner HTML. Body.inner HTML equals text, which means we're still going to have to do the other operation that we did. We'll do that first. And then we'll do this. Okay, so now if the key code is less than 48 or greater than 57, we return. Well, there's definitely, wait a minute, all the keys are greater than 50. I think the Stack Overflow is completely wrong. A to Z. So it's clearly 65 to 90. A, B, C, up to Z, capital A. It's okay, so the capitals are the same. They just have the alternate key thing on top of them. Okay, so we get text equals text plus key. Let's change this into an object so that we can print out text. So here's our text. We can see that it's keeping track of the text. If it's less than 50, 65 or greater than 90, we return. Otherwise, we're supposed to be doing something. Does body not have an inner HTML? I don't think body has an inner HTML. I think body actually has to have a tag. Maybe, maybe not. Does body have inner HTML? Yeah, body has inner HTML. If we get back to the body selector, we should do body inner HTML equals blah. Let's just take this, put it above our guard clause, then we should know. I still don't see it being written anywhere. No. My text white or something? No. My text is not white. Why am I not seeing that? Document.body. Maybe I have to go document.body. Maybe I can't use a query selector for that one. No, it's still not printing it. All right, let's try a new tactic. What if we have a span in here? What if we have a div in here? And the div will just take up the entire thing, right? So, height 100%, width 100%, overflow, hidden, BG. No, I'm not doing tailwind. Background, RGBA. We're going to do 000.9, which means we have to color the text. And we're going to need the body to also have the full size. I'm not doing tailwind. Hard to get out of the tailwind mode. Also, body is going to need to have margin 0 because we didn't include a reset. Okay, so now we've got, you know, our dark screen. We're still not seeing our text. If we just put in some text here, we should see it. We do see it. Okay. So let's switch this around now. Let's give this an ID. We're going to call it content. All right, so we're going to use our query selector again, but this time we're going to set it on the content. The document has loaded, content, inner HTML, okay. Did I lowercase it? I lowercased it. Why did I lowercase it? Still not showing up. Content is null. I have my DOM listener. Oh, this would be get query by ID. No, get element by ID. Man, the number of libraries. Okay, so now we got our okay. So let me walk this back. Actually, I need those styles. So let me walk it forward. Let's grab this. Then let's walk it backward. Get back to where we were. All right, so text equals text, and then we're going to do body dot inner HTML. This time, let's make sure that it completes to the right one, and that's just going to be text. So an interesting thing that you see when we write into the inner content, like we lose all of this the style stuff, right? That's strange. Div content. Oh, because we're overwriting this. Hold on. Let's put this here and get rid of our div tag. We don't need it anymore. See, so some things don't work, right? Because our guard clause is apparently wrong. This was supposed to be what? This was supposed to be 65. And this is supposed to be 90. And that is key code 13. That should not even show. Is the key code actually an integer? It looks like it's actually an integer. So key, comma, key code text. So we got the key is control. The key code was 17. If the key code's less than 60, 4. All right, so we can type hello world. We can't do backspace. We can't do explanation. We can't do space. What's the space key? The space key is 32. So if key code is equal to 32. Now this guard clause gets difficult because we can't do something like this, right? So we'd have to do something like key code is not 32. And key code is less than this. Key code is greater than that, return. So now we can type spaces. What if we wanted explanation marks and stuff? Well, let's see what it is. Explanation mark is key code 49. Let's go ahead and whitelist 49. So now we can say hello explanation mark. But you can see that this is going to get real gross really fast. My advice would be this. Have yourself a const of keys that you want to listen to that are not part of the alphanumeric. So like 32, what do we want? We want 32, 49. So 32, 49, 222, 190, 188. Now this is not going to work for Unicode stuff, right? Like if people are typing Cyrillic or something else, it's not going to work for them. What else do we want to allow? Maybe a hyphen. 173. So now what we could do is we could say key codes. If the key codes dot include the thing, so we'll flip that to a not. Hello, let's see, includes, not writing Ruby. So we get hello, space, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Actually, I can't do that. If it doesn't include and goes in, nope, it's not going to matter. And it's listed this. Wait, why did that put a printer on that? That's not what I don't want that. I want these two together. Thank you very much. Hello world, exclamation mark, question mark, dot, hyphen. So, I mean, that's event listeners, and that's handling key down or key press. Let's call this key down editor. Git add dot, I guess it's not a repo yet. I don't want to make it there. rm-rf.get cd down one, git init, git add day3, git commit -m, initial. All right, let's see. Ayush, what's up, man? Thank you for letting me know that I had the lowercase. That's awesome. Brian got get element by ID. You like query selector pound? Yeah, query selector with like the dots and the pound signs is really nice. Abdul Rahman asked, "Did I lose the Dead Mentor channel?" Yeah, I killed it. I murdered it. I stabbed it in its neck and I let it bleed out on the street because it was clearly being shadow banned by YouTube. So they can keep it. They can keep my 15,000 subscribers. I'll build a new set. In fact, every time you knock down my sandcastle, I don't get up and get in a fist fight with you or call the cops or scream and yell. I just build another sandcastle and I make sure that the new sandcastle is better than the old sandcastle. And if I see you come running at my second sandcastle, I'll drop you. So that's how I work it. Yeah, any questions about what we got going here? Is any questions about things we've done? Is there anything that you'd like to see me cover on Monday for vanilla JavaScript? Is there anything about vanilla JavaScript that just makes you pull your hair out? Is there anything about vanilla JavaScript that you don't understand? We're going to take this and we're going to eventually like work it into some more server-side code examples. But at the beginning, I think the browser is the best place to teach JavaScript because that's what JavaScript is for. Well, it looks like nobody's got any questions, so I will be seeing you guys on the next class. It is designing UX. Sorry, no. 11 a.m. JavaScript interview questions and answers. JavaScript interview questions and answers coming up at the top of the hour. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them and I'll add them to your list. But we're going to go through JavaScript interview and questions and answers from some really good sources and follow those, and I'll add yours in. Jeremiah says, yes, he sucks at promises. So it seems like Monday, vanilla JavaScript, we're going to have to do async and promises and show you how you can do like, chaining of a then, or you could just, use async await. Arrays and arrays. Okay, we'll do arrays and arrays too, which is also known as a matrix. Keep this stuff coming, man. I love when the ideas come from Twitch and when the ideas come from Twitter. I can always give you guys cooler stuff if I have that information. So yeah, I'll see you here in just a little bit.